Welcome to the
New York City.
Pinstripe Territory.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
All right. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? What is up? Joining me tonight is Terrence Kem. He is live from Los Angeles. He's in enemy territory tonight. TK, how you doing, man?
Pretty good behind enemy lines. You're right, man. You can definitely feel there's definitely a buzz around the city. You can feel it for the Dodgers, obviously, but also tomorrow night there's like 8 things going on in LA, so there's going to be like historic traffic. But there's definitely a buzz in the city. I'm sure in New York there's something similar going on.
So no real structure tonight. Usually when we do these, we have different topics that we want to go through, but it's been a long season, and I thought we would just kind of celebrate the fact that we're in the World Series, kind of just talk about what we're thinking about for the series. How you been passing the time? I've been bouncing off the walls, man, these last 4 days.
I think I've watched the Juan Soto at-bat 300 times.
Oh, yeah, minimum.
Yeah, doing that a lot.
That and the Stanton home runs. I've watched all the Stanton home runs. My favorite one isn't even the home run that he hit against Bybee in the last game. It was the Clase one. That was amazing. I know we lost the game, but it was still that was an unbelievable moment. I don't think I've screamed that loud all year. And it was twice in a row because it was the Judge one and then it was Stanton. I almost lost my voice for the post game on that.
Yeah, that was insane. What's funny? I think my favorite Stanton home run of all time, and the call as well, isn't even a playoff one. It's 2021 in Fenway Park.
Oh, grand slam?
When the Yankees were battling in the 8th inning, when the Yankees were battling for a playoff spot, and he hits this tank over the monster. I've watched that home run 150 times, and I love Michael K's call for it as well. That was I don't think I've ever seen or heard on television Fenway Park louder than that for a Yankees good thing for a Yankee to happen there ever. It's absolutely nuts. Go back and look at that home run if you haven't seen in a while, but it's absurd.
I'm trying to think of the home runs I've watched on replay the most in my life. Obviously, Judge 60 at Yankee Stadium was kind of cool, and that was another night where Stanton had the grand slam to walk it off. I watched that one a million times. I watched all the stuff from the 90s. I've watched probably the Tino Martinez and Scott Brosius home runs from the 01 World Series, the Don Mattingly home run in the 95 ALDS, Aaron Boone. I watched that a lot. Although I watched that entire rally a lot. From when they were down 5-2, you had the 2 home runs from Giambi, and then you get the base hit from Jeter to get on second. You get Williams with a base hit, Matsui with a double, and then the bloop double from Jorge Posada. What a night that was.
I gotta say also, I was watching a lot of 2017 Yankee highlights. That team is very very close to my heart. You can tell the Todd father that too, but that team is very, very close to my heart. That was just such a magical run. I remember that was Judge's rookie year. I was still in high school, but I remember that was absolutely electric. That season, I went to the game when they came back 9-2 against the Orioles, some crazy comeback like that. And I still remember Starlin Castro hit a home run in the 9th to tie it, and Matt Holliday walked it off. And I was at that game, electric regular season game. So that season holds a special place in my heart. It still irks me with the obviously the Houston cheating scandal. And you saw Cashman, dude, he's still irked about it. Giving comments on was that Mad Dog's show. So
yeah,
I don't know. We can talk a little bit about that if you want, but I got some mixed feelings about those comments.
Honestly, I would rather not rehash that. I don't even care about that anymore. It's in the past. It was 7 years ago. You know what I mean? I to say I don't care is wrong. I don't think about it. It's you can't go back and make them win. You can't change anything. Even if you get by that series, you still got to win the World Series. It is what it is. Different age now. You can't do that anymore. Hopefully Major League Baseball has put a stop to all that. I'm more focused on the next, 8 or 9 days. How are we feeling about game 1, Flaherty versus Cole?
I actually feel pretty good. I saw this thing that was interesting. They were saying, if you look at history with, I think it's when 2 number 1 seeds play each other in the World Series, whoever wins game 1, because it's likely to go to 7 games or 6 games, so it's more likely to go 7 games than anything other, like with any other record. But if the team wins game 1, that is the team that is most likely to win the World Series, because statistically, if you look at history, the team usually goes 3-3 after that. So if you play 500 and you win game 1, you win the World Series.
Yeah.
It's obviously not that simple, but I do have I feel like we got to get out of LA 1-1.
Yeah.
We got to go
minimum.
back to New York 1-1. Yeah.
And I actually think it's going to go that way. I think the Yankees will take game 1. Garrett Cole over Jack Flaherty. If you watch Jack Flaherty start, and I just went back and watched the last game that he pitched. Now, he might come out tomorrow and look great, but his stuff was flat. It was not impressive.
Yeah.
And Garrett Cole, he worries me a little bit on extra rest, because I feel like when he's got off his routine a little bit, he's just not that sharp, like we saw in game 1 of the division series. But if Cole is on and he's pitching like he did against Corbin Burns in that Orioles game, right? I feel like the Yankees will have the advantage in game 1. Game 2, Yamamoto, look, there's a reason he got $325 million. Like, if you watch his recent couple of outings, his stuff is absolutely filthy. And I don't think it matches up well with the Yankees, because he throws a mix of a lot of stuff. Like, if he leans on his fastball, the Yankees will hit him. His fastball is not great. It's got some heat, but it's kind of straight, and the Yankees can attack him. But if he's throwing that curveball and getting it for strikes, and throwing that splitter and the sweeper and just mixing and matching, the splitter's 91-92 and it drops 1.5 feet. It's it's the best splitter I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be 1-1 headed back to New York. And then you've got, Clark Schmidt versus, I don't know who's going, maybe a bullpen game, or is it?
They haven't even said anything. I would assume it's a bullpen game because they have 2 starters. Or no, they're probably going to pitch Walker Buehler. I think.
He was terrible this year. He has not been right since coming back from his injury. And I feel like even if you get him 1 good start, he's not going to give you 2 good starts, right, in this series. So that's why I think the Yankees have the advantage, but they've got to attack the rotation, the starting pitching early. The bullpen can be tough. Obviously, they've got Kopech. The Guardians had a better bullpen than the Dodgers, and they just destroyed them. The one thing that worries me about the Dodgers is they can frickin' mash. I mean, Ohtani in the brightest lights, he's going to be just incredible. You just know he's going to be incredible. Mookie Betts has always had the Yankees number. They got Kiki Hernandez, who's their version of Giancarlo Stanton, only much smaller, right?
Yes.
Freddie Freeman, though, he's not going to be a huge factor. I mean, unless he hits a Kirk Gibson home run. They also have the, Fernando Valenzuela just died, and his birthday would be game 5, or game 6. They've got that little extra, win it for Fernando kind of thing going.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I don't buy so much into that. Obviously, condolences to him and his family, there. But this is John Sterling's last series before he retires. I can very easily say for the Yankees, win it for John. John's obviously still alive. God forbid that something happens, but you know what I mean. You can kind of play into that anyway on the other side. But with the Dodgers, they got the guy I wanted, the reliever I wanted, Kopech. He's been really good for them. He's got great stuff. They got Phillips, who's really good at the back end of the bullpen. Trinan, that guy throws straight wiffle balls. I mean, he's just unbelievable watching that guy pitch. That would be the 3 big horses for them in the bullpen that I would be concerned about. Joe Kelly's always kind of been a prick, especially against the Yankees.
But the Yankees can hit him. They've seen him for years, and he's not the same pitcher.
A thorn. He's just a thorn in their side, but I think he's more of an irritant if anything. But yeah, you're right, man. There was a crazy stat that Ohtani was 0 for 22 with nobody on, but 18 for 22 with runners in scoring position. Yeah. Something absurd like that. So I don't know, man. You're going to have to really pitch carefully to him. Hopefully you have him come up when there's nobody on. That's going to be the key, I think, to neutralizing Ohtani. And then Mookie Betts, he hits the Yankees really well. Freddie Freeman, I think he's dealing with a sore ankle. They sat him for Muncie. What was that, game 6 against the Mets?
He sat a couple of times in that series. Yeah, a couple of times.
So I think he's battling that. But, respect to the Dodgers. They're obviously a great team. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. They have home field advantage. But, getting out of L.A. 1-1 would be a win, definitely.
I wanna throw this super chat out there because Peter Van Duzen says, I'm so excited for tomorrow night. do you guys think a World Series win helps or hurts our chances at re-signing Juan Soto? I fear he will feel the job is done. Man, I've been just battling with the Soto thing because there's so many different opinions on it. Like, I've had different experts on, I've had different players on, and the consensus, there is no consensus. The consensus is that nobody knows, what's in his heart. If it's all about money, if it's strictly the highest dollar amount, I really believe he will sign elsewhere, probably with the Mets. But if the Yankees win the World Series, he's going to make a ton of money from endorsements. He's going to get a huge playoff share. I mean, I don't know how much the playoff shares are these days, but it's probably in the millions. It's a lot. It's a lot. And honestly, the Mets, they got like $200 million coming off the payroll. They can sign him for whatever they want, but also they might be in a little bit of a rebuild. Like, I feel like they went further this year than people expected. They're probably not going to bring back everybody that's a free agent, but it's honestly kind of a good spot to be in if you're Steve Cohen, because you can add Soto, you could add Soto and Corbin Burns and still have like $90 million until you get to where you're at this year in terms of payroll, right? So the sky's the limit. But to answer this question, I think that him winning a World Series here will be kind of like it was when Bernie Williams won the World Series with the Yankees in '98. And honestly, I mean, it's a different situation because he was a homegrown Yankee, but there were all the chants at the parade, like, re-sign Bernie, all this stuff. And he said, talk to this guy right here. And he pointed to George Steinbrenner. Same thing's going to happen where the pressure is going to be strictly on Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman. It's going to be very difficult to let him walk if he wins you a World Series, especially after that swing. I mean, he went down in Yankees history with that home run to win the pennant. Even though it was the top half of the inning, not the bottom. I mean, imagine if it would have been in New York in the bottom half.
There would have been an earthquake in the Bronx. I mean, they were already chanting re-sign Soto during the regular season and then also during the trophy presentation for the AL pennant. So the Yankees know. Hal Steinbrenner knows what's up. I personally think that Juan Soto being a Boras client, I do think he's going to go to the highest dollar amount. That's what I think. I think that Boras clients like to go to free agency to see what's out there. I think the only way he remains a Yankee is that he loved his experience as a Yankee so much that he has a number in his head where he beats Ohtani's present day value and he has like the years that he wants. And he basically uses the Mets to get to that point. And then a little bit with the Judge situation where Steinbrenner basically called him up from Italy and was like, okay, what's the offer you have? And Judge was like, you got to go one more year. And he was like, okay, I'll go one more year, but are you going to be a Yankee? Because this is the final offer. And then the Judge was like, yeah. So I think it would be a situation like that if he stays. I think I agree with you with the Mets. They have, I think, close to like $180 million coming off their books this year, which is a lot of money, obviously. But for them, they have a ton of one-year contracts. So they do have to fill other holes for their team next year. They had a very, I hate to say it, 17 Yankees kind of run this year. And they're a little bit in that, like, okay, we have like a 5-year window now coming up with, we got a lot of young talent. And I think they'll try to sell that to Soto. Hey, we can build around you. We got a lot of young players. And they got the money to spend and they're willing to spend the money. And I think the Mets also kind of want to kick it to the Yankees. Like we took your guy. Yeah. But I think that on the Yankees perspective, if they win the World Series, they're probably a lot less reluctant to sign him just because they got the ring. That's what they made the trade for. They got the World Series. They can be like, all right, we won the ring. Thank you. I think I'm sure they'd love to keep him. I'm not saying they don't. Yeah. They definitely do. And the reason they're in the spot they're in right now is because Juan Soto's a Yankee. But I think that if they get the World Series, they're much less likely to sign him just because of that reason. Now, if they lose the World Series... I just
broke my squeeze ball. Sorry, I got to wipe it down. My stress ball...
You're going to need it for the games, man.
Jesus
for the
Christ.
Balls.
I covered in goo.
But if they lose the World Series, I think that they're probably more likely to sign him just because they may feel like they're not in this spot without him. And in order to get back to the spot, they need him.
Man, that stress ball just did not survive this week, man. I was sitting there just all week wow, it just exploded all over me. Wow.
You're going to need that next week, man.
I know, man. I got to get another stress ball. I don't know what I'm going to do without it. So, all right. I've been talking with, a few different folks about X factors. Like, who could be the guy that steps up? We talked about Jazz the first 2 rounds. He did nothing. I think Volpe is somebody that we had mentioned, and he's very quietly had a great postseason. Like, if you look at his numbers, hitting about 300, getting on base. The big hit against Clase was enormous.
Huge.
It raised there's somebody posted a stat. It raised the Yankees' percentage of winning the World Series by 4% or something, just that opposite field single. I think he's still my guy for the World Series. I just think, local kid, energy, feeding off the crowd. Like, I can see him getting a huge home run or a huge base clearing triple or something like that. That's kind of how I feel. He's kind of got that, that I don't want to say Jeter because then, obviously people make the comparisons, but that same kind of like it factor, right? Like, I feel like he could come up big.
It's like an aura, like a swag, kind of a vibe. I could see it. I've been very pleased. He's very quietly hitting 320. We've mentioned that previous shows in the postseason. Very happy with what he's doing. He hasn't really cost you in the field. If anything, he's a plus defender, obviously. I don't know. I think Jazz will. I still believe in him. I still think he's going to get something done. Listen, I went to one Dodger game this year when they played the Marlins just to check out Dodger Stadium as a baseball fan. This is when Jazz was on the Marlins and Yamamoto was pitching. And he took him deep first pitch of the game. So maybe there's a little something there. And that was the one where like the announcer was like, Yamamoto's throwing a perfect game right now because he hadn't thrown a pitch yet. And then literally the first pitch, Jazz took him deep like dead center. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
Yeah. So maybe there's a little something there. And I just think that he's too talented, too good of a hitter. So, but I think that Stanton continues to mash. Maybe Wells is kind of like an X factor because if he turns it on, man, that really, really creates problems for the Dodgers.
We got to have somebody at the bottom of the order swinging the bat, right? I mean, Rizzo got a couple of hits. If he continues to swing the bat, that's huge. Wells, if he gets going. We could also use, as Retro Tony says, a red-hot Aaron Judge. He's been kind of lying in the weeds. Like, if you look at the numbers, he had a decent ALCS. Like, he had a couple of home runs in 5 games. He drove in some runs. He had a couple of sac flies. He had a big hit, base hit. I think it was before the Stanton home run in game 4 or 5? I don't know. Where he had the line drive or ground ball past the shortstop.
Yeah.
Like he's had some decent moments, but he hasn't gone ballistic. Like we haven't seen the 2 home run game. We haven't seen the 5 for 5 with 3 extra base hits kind of game like we saw several times this season. And you wouldn't expect that because it's the playoffs, because it's the best pitchers that in the league that you're facing. But man, that would be beautiful. That would be absolutely beautiful. It's kind of like my secret hope is that he's been spending the last few days with Teacher Man, and he just comes out just like gangbusters. How beautiful would this be? 4 games, clinch it home, Judge MVP, hits like 4 or 5 home runs in the series, complete domination. I don't want any stress. I don't want any sad post-game shows. Just blow through. I know it would be better for business to have a 7-game series, be better for ratings, be better for the podcast, be better for everyone. I'd make a lot more money in 7 games than I would in 4. But a 4-game, 4 blowout series, that would be amazing.
That'd be nice. That's the one thing that upsets me about the 2-3-2 format is that the Yankees don't have a chance to really win the World Series at home unless they
sure
win
they
in
do 4 or 5. Come on.
Unless they win in 4 or 5. But personally, I have Yankees in 6. That's what I got, and that would be in Dodger Stadium. But because I think that the Bronx is going to be absolutely nuts when it comes. The World Series hasn't been there in 15 years, and the fans have been starving for it. And honestly, like, I don't really think there's anything like a New York environment in the playoffs. Same thing with Madison Square Garden, for other, like for Ranger games or Knick games. Like, I'm serious. There's just something in the air in New York, like just some sort of energy to it. Even Citi Field was rocking. I mean, kudos to those fans. Like, it's just New Yorkers have that energy. So, I think that the Yankees probably take, I want to say like, what are we at? 1-1. How do I, they take 2 out of 3 at home. Let's go with that. Yeah. So then they're up.
Sense.
Yeah. They take 2 out of 3 at home. They come back 1-1, and then they win Game 6 in LA.
That'd be nice. I'll take any victory in any amount of games. Honestly, I'll sign up for it. What's your biggest worry in this series? For me, it's that Clay Holmes can't get it together. We need him to be like, if he can throw, like if he continues just throwing meatballs, we're screwed. Yeah. We need that turbo sinker that he had for the first round.
Yeah. Biggest worry for me, somebody gets hurt. That
Yeah.
would be the biggest worry, obviously. But yeah, Clay Holmes. Look, he was really good in the Kansas City series. Got to give the man his kudos there. And then for the first couple games in Cleveland, and then he obviously blew it. Just because of how the regular season went, I'm definitely not confident when he comes in. And they're really, really happy to put him in for like these high leverage situations. I just don't see it. I'd much rather see him in like the 7th inning or the 6th inning, like 8th inning, like the latest I want to see that guy is the 8th inning, like
Yeah,
absolute
I
latest.
agree.
And even then, I'm like really sketched out by it. So, I just think that that's probably the biggest worry. Or maybe that like Stanton cools off because the break between the
That's
CS
a
and the
big
World
worry.
Series is too long because we really need that guy to keep mashing. I think that's probably the biggest worry there. So that's probably it. Yeah.
So let's do a little prediction here. So you already said Yankees in 6. Who's the series MVP?
I'm thinking about it. I want to pick somebody like cool and like unique, but I'm gonna say Aaron Judge. I think
I'm gonna
Aaron Judge.
say my official prediction: Yankees in 7. MVP Luke Weaver.
There, I like that. I like
Luke
that.
Weaver.
There you
I
go.
think 3 or 4 saves. He's going to have to get some big outs against this team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited, man. I've been having difficulty focusing this week, and it's been a long wait. 15 years since the last World Series. One thing we were talking about in the green room, so to speak, is that I feel like there's a lot less pressure against the Dodgers. They feel like a much more worthy adversary. Like if you lose in 6 or 5 to the Mets, right? I mean, this just makes for an awful period of time until you overcome that, right? And that might be years, you know. But Dodgers, they got the best player in the world. They got an awesome lineup. They got a really good bullpen. They beat some really hot teams to get here in the Padres and the Mets. And like if you go 6 or 7 with them and you fall short, like I can go to sleep at night and say, hey, look, we went a long way. We had a great year. Obviously, New Yorkers and Yankees fans, we always hear that, win the World Series or it's a failure. But to me, you go 6 or 7 deep in the World Series, that was an enjoyable baseball season, right? That was an
Oh,
enjoyable, even if you come up short, it's like, dag nabbit, we came up short. But damn, that was a great season. That was a great run. Right now, it's already a really good season. Like, we're in the World Series. You don't want to get swept. You don't want to lose in 5. If you drag it out 6 or 7 and go down fighting, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, you want the Yankees to win. I really want the Yankees to win. But I feel like no matter what, this is going to be an enjoyable, memorable baseball season.
yeah, 100%. I mean, they're in the dance. They haven't been here in 15 years. You got to chalk it up as a success, win or lose. And like you said, it'll be tough for me because I live in Los Angeles and I work with a bunch of Dodger fans. But I would be much more upset if we lost to the Mets in a Subway Series. That's why I was kind of rooting for Yankees Dodgers. So, and then also I think there is something to Cole, Judge, and Stant all being California guys. I do think they're going to hit well. They like this is Stanton's home
I didn't
ballpark.
think about that. Yeah,
Yeah, like Stanton. Go
that
look at
is a
Stanton's
great
numbers.
fucking point.
Look at Stanton's Dodger Stadium numbers. He's hitting like 389 in Dodger Stadium.
Judge too.
And so
Judge hits in.
Judge is mashing. Like seriously, like I do think there's something to that playing at home for them, like where they grew up. And the weather is always going to be great. Like it's been beautiful in LA. It's like perfect baseball weather. So, and I keep getting, where's this turtleneck? This is actually a quarter zip, guys, and it's the collab that Ralph Lauren did. Got the little Yankee logo, and they put wrong one. They put the logo on the neck, so it's like the closest
Sick.
thing you can get to the turtleneck. But it's cool. It's cool. So check it out on the website. That's where I got it.
All right, everybody, we will be back tomorrow with the post game for Game 1 of the World Series. Tune in. Terrence, we'll have you back at some point during the World Series during one of the off days, but it's just going to be me for the post game shows for the World Series. Was here all year, not going to stop now. So we'll see you after each game, and then voicemail shows the morning after each game. I will be live on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. He was on last night on my channel. I'm going on his channel right now at 9:30 to kind of preview the World Series from the Yankees side for his audience. So tune into that if you dig it. I retweeted on my X profile, so you can go ahead and look for that. But TK, great year, great job during your rookie season as a Yankees podcaster. It's been great having you. And hopefully next time we talk, Yanks are up 2-0.
There you go. Appreciate the ride. See you guys.
See you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and give us a subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. We're also on all your favorite podcast platforms and social media. Join the community, have some fun. We're here after every game. This is Pinstripe Territory.